From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Governor Tambuwal imposes 24-hour restriction in Sokoto as Governor El-Rufai bans religious protest in Kaduna. Vice President Osibanjo woos delegates in Jigawa, not received by state governor. Terrorists release pregnant passenger abducted in Kaduna-Abuja train attack. Away from Nigeria, Ukraine praises liberation in the Battle of Kharkiv. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now the details. The Sokoto State Governor, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, has declared a 24-hour curfew to contain tension by protesting residents demanding the release of the two persons involved in the killing of Deborah Samuel over alleged blasphemy. This is coming shortly after some residents who took to the streets in protest burnt tires and stoned the palace of Sultan of Sokoto Alhaji Saad Abubakar III for condemning the killing of Deborah. Nana Muhammad has the details in this report.
There was tension in some parts of Sokoto State due to protest over the arrest of suspects involved in killing of Deborah Samuel, a student of Shehu Shagari College of Education Sokoto, by her schoolmates. The angry protesters, including young men and women, stormed the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar, and the state government house, calling for the release of the two suspected killers of Deborah Samuel. They stormed the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar's palace for joining President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, and Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal of Sokoto in condemning the killing and calling for the arrest of the suspected killers of Deborah. To contain the situation in the state, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal declared a 24-hour curfew.
I hereby declare curfew within the metropolis of Sokoto Township for the next 24 hours. I appeal to the good people of Sokoto State to kindly continue to observe law and order and calm down the restiveness that is currently pervading in the metropolis, and that everyone should please, in the interest of peace, go back home and observe these measures with the view of establishment of peace, law and order in the state.
Nana Muhammad, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In the same vein, President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday condemned the killing of Ms. Deborah Samuel in Sokoto State. In a statement by his media aide, Garba Shehu, President Buhari said the news of the killing of the young lady by fellow students was a matter of concern. He therefore demanded an impartial, extensive probe into all that happened before and during the incident. The president stated that Muslims all over the world demand respect for the holy prophets, including Isa and Muhammad. He, however, explained that where transgressions occur, as alleged to be in this case, the law does not allow anyone to take matters into their hands. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State government has banned protests related to religious activities throughout the state with immediate effect. A statement by the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs said that the ban followed intelligence that some people are planning to organize a series of for and against protests related to a security development in one of the northern Nigerian states. The statement noted that Governor Nasir El-Rufai, after a security briefing on the development, charged security agencies to ensure strict enforcement of the ban against any form of religious protest in the state. The governor also called on religious community and traditional rulers in the state to complement the efforts of government and security agencies towards the maintenance of peace and stability in the state by prevailing on their subjects to toe the path of peace. Suspected terrorists who bombed the Abuja-Kaduna train and abducted scores have released a pregnant passenger on compassionate grounds. In a video released by the abductors, the freed woman was heard calling on the federal government to negotiate with the terrorists to save the lives of others who are still with them. Security sources said that no ransom was paid to secure her release. The source also dismissed media reports that one woman had given birth in the den of the terrorist.
I am one of the passengers abducted some days back. They kidnapped us and took us into the bush without stating their reasons. They look at situations of captives like me, who is heavily pregnant and whose prolonged stay may pose danger to my health, and decided to release me. I am calling on the government to have mercy on these people, the way they have mercy on us. Government should consider the plight of people in captivity, to sit with them and listen to their demands. Government should negotiate with them peacefully and accept their demands so that those who are still with them can be released and reunited with their families and loved ones.
Moving on to political matters, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Saturday stormed Dutse, the Jigawa state capital, as part of ongoing consultations with delegates of the ruling All Progressives Congress ahead of the forthcoming primaries of the party. The VP, who arrived the state at about 3 p.m. aboard presidential aircraft, was met by officials of the state chapter of the party. However, neither Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar of the state nor his deputy, Umar Namadi, was on ground to receive the vice president. Badaru was represented by the secretary to the state government, Abdul Qadir Fanini. The vice president met the delegates where the state APC chairman, Aminu Sani Gumel, told the VP that the state considered him as part of them because he had always identified with the development of the state. National leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, says he remains the best of all the aspirants for the nation's presidency. Tinubu said this when he met with delegates in Niger State ahead of the party's presidential primaries. Tinubu said, unlike other aspirants, he has produced many other leaders who are doing well on their own. He said he will replicate the development strides witnessed in Lagos if he becomes the nation's #1 man.
That is the only person you should follow. Is the person who knows the road to your destination, prosperity, happiness, and good health. Follow me. I always say you. They don't have my brain. They're tired. Every day, in nowhere, I go back, I do Kawa, in nowhere.
In a related development, presidential aspirant of the People's Democratic Party and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says placing value on education, unity and tackling insecurity should be a priority to any government. He stated this when he met with delegates of the party in Asaba Delta State. The former Vice President, who noted that Nigeria needs to take back its pride of place as the giant of Africa, explained that this can only be done if proper attention is given to accountability, security, transparency in governance, as well as dedication to the ideals of nationhood. On his part, the Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa says the PDP has all it takes to emerge victorious in 2023 and guarantee the return of Nigeria to greatness.
In was the situation we found ourselves in 1999. So that's why I identified unity as number one. Every part of this country is witnessing one form of insecurity or the other. And I said we are going to tackle insecurity. Then we face the economy. It is only when you tackle this unity and security that you will be able to face the economy. Today, our universities have been closed for only God knows when. This is simply because we have a federal government that is insensitive to the education of our young men and women who are the future of this country.
As we approach the elections, we knew the state of this nation. And when the PDP took over the governance, we knew what that first team of the PDP, we knew what it took them to put Nigeria back on track. And we are aware of the success stories. We talked about unity, which is still very key and even more important as at today's politics. You talked about the economy. We knew what it was and where it took us to. We knew the debt situation then. Now it's even worse. It's only men with a lot of experience that can truly deal with that.
Staying with political matters, the All Progressives Congress APC in Kano State has been hit by a wave of defections as political parties heat up. The latest politician to dump the party is the former Chief of Staff to Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. Ali Makoda, who was until Friday the Chief of Staff to Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State, dumped the APC for the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. The report.
It is not the best of times for the ruling APC in Kano State as prominent members in its ranks defect to the new Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, to realize their political ambitions. Former Minority Whip in the House of Representatives and former Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Kawu Sumaila, is among those joining NNPP from the APC.
We left our party APC, which we formed in 2013, because we believe that APC breached the understanding, the underlying understanding between Nigeria and APC. We believe that we will form a party that will promote democracy, that will promote good governance. At the end was a derill from the founding principle of our party. Therefore, we decide to change.
How optimistic are you that this new party that you are in will...
We are all human. We are all human. You cannot tell what will happen tomorrow. But from the reality, I think it is the amalgamation of like minds. We have very common interest, Nigeria.
So far, 2 serving members of the House of Representatives, Chief of Staff to the Governor, among several other politicians, joined NNPP, a party not well known until recently when former Kano State Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso defected to it with his supporters.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, says he has not resigned, but only withdrew his ambition to contest for the 2023 Kebbi State gubernatorial elections. A statement from his Special Assistant on Media and Public Relations, Umar Jibrilu Gwandu, said the decision is not only a demonstration of altruism and patriotism, but of contentment, self-control and decisiveness in problem-solving at a time shrouded with confusion and competition. According to Gwandu, the minister's decision to voluntarily shelve his gubernatorial ambition is a matter of personal conviction and individual right, which he said didn't violate any law. The National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Mungudu, retired, has expressed worry over what he termed growing uncertainty over party primaries ahead of the 2023 general elections. The NSA noted that the development has already culminated in intense power play capable of heightening unnecessary political tension across the country. Mungudu, who spoke at the quarterly meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security at the INEC headquarters in Abuja, said heads of security agencies have been mandated to monitor and profile political actors who are bent on subverting the electoral process. The National Security Advisor was represented by Sanusi Galadima, INEC Chairman, Professor Mahamoud Yakubu, and joined security agencies to expedite actions on degrading the security threat before the general elections.
The NSA has noted with utmost concern the growing uncertainty heralding the conduct of party primaries for 2023 elections. This is in addition to the unabated spate of violence that threaten the upcoming up-cycle gubernatorial elections in Ekiti and Osun states. More worrisome is the unguarded utterances of some highly respected individuals and groups, which more often than not amplifies divisive narratives to the detriment of national security and stability. Accordingly, head of security and law enforcement agencies have been tasked to step up close monitoring and profiling of political actors, no matter how highly placed, who exhibit tendencies that subvert the electoral process, even as talks and other sponsors will equally be trailed for possible arrest and prosecution.
The general security situation in the country and its impact on the electoral process is a source of concern to the Commission. However, we are confident that with 9 months to the 2023 general election, there is enough time to respond to the security challenges and secure the nation for elections to take place nationwide. The timetable for the election has been released. Let us not wait until a few weeks to the election before we realize that time is not on our side and begin to seek for extension of timelines.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly. Road users decry accidents due to dilapidation. Details and more after the break. Join us again.
Daily, we bring you updates around politics.
People like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening to them continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country.
The DPO of a particular unit does not have to wait until the commissioner tells him what to do within his jurisdiction.
We have political parties on the ground. Some of them have been there for years. But they themselves, in their own sober moments, they know that this country is not the one they're expecting to run.
Policy and governance.
Are you saying the NBS is lying?
I'm saying to you very clearly that the NBS has a serious problem with accurate data till today.
The 5th Assembly, as well as the 7th Assembly, their own attempts were unproductive.
Emergence of the Taliban has simply emboldened terror groups globally.
There is a lot of attention with regards to security developments in Nigeria.
On Daily Politics, we interrogate issues, holding the actors to account, bearing in mind all the sides.
We heard that in some places now, people have to go and pay tax, not to the local government, not to the state, but to criminals.
Nobody can come to your house and kidnap you without information.
If this country is bleeding, it is bleeding because we have failed to educate our young.
Welcome back. This is the News Hour on Trust Television. A reminder of our top stories again. Governor Tambuwal imposes 24-hour restriction in Sokoto as Governor El-Rufai bans religious protest in Kaduna. Vice President Osibanjo woos delegates in Jigawa, not received by state governor. Elsewhere, the Northern Consensus Movement has expressed displeasure over the assumption that most bandit and kidnap-related offences are perpetrated by men of the Fulani extraction. President of the movement, Awal Aliyu, made this known at a press briefing in Abuja to address the misconceptions often held against the Fulanis. Aliyu explained that it is unacceptable for the Fulanis to be profiled based on the misdeeds of a few bad eggs, adding that many of them have also fallen victim to the atrocities of the criminals.
This insinuation that the Fulanis are the kidnappers, the Fulanis are the ones doing cattle rustling, the Fulanis are the bandits. Yes, you will have some of the Fulanis being part of this, but it's not only Fulanis that are involved in all these things. You have the Hausas, you have the all other tribes in Nigeria that are involved. A lot of arrests that are being made. You discover that where they said it's Fulani, you discover that there's not Fulani. But that is not to say that, like I said, that the Fulanis are not involved. The Fulanis themselves are being kidnapped by the bad eggs among them. So it is not every Fulani. When you have over 14 million Fulanis, and out of the 14 million, if you have about 500,000 or 1 million involved in this kidnappings and banditry and what have you, how can you be so unfair to about 39 million when you have maybe 1 million that are involved?
Member representing Degema Boni Federal Constituency in House of Representatives and governorship aspirant of the People's Democratic Party in Rivers State, Farah Dagogo, has been remanded in a Port Harcourt Correctional Center by a state high court. Dagogo was brought to court in police van and carried in by 4 security men due to ill health. Journalists at the court premises were barred from covering the proceedings. The report.
Counsel to Farah Dagogo, Innocent Eku, who spoke to journalists earlier at the court premises, said the lawmaker was refused bail by the police.
And I am here now to tell Nigerians that the Commissioner of Police and his allies has refused to obey the order of the Federal High Court. They have arrogated to themselves power to disobey, power to refuse, power to fail to comply with the order of a competent court of jurisdiction.
Innocent called on Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba to intervene on the matter as his client was bailed by the court. Prosecution lawyer Chidi Eke told newsmen that the lawmaker was unable to take his plea and was therefore directed to be remanded in prison where he can take his treatment. Medical doctor Farah Dagogo expressed displeasure over the treatment meted to his client.
It's an occasion where the Inspector General should defend the rule of law, defend the dignity of the court, and ensure that the legacy that made us a civilized nation should not be truncated by the whim and caprices of some mighty individual.
Brought to court today to take his plea, but unfortunately, as they have been saying, that he is sick, so they brought him in stretchers and was brought to the court in that condition. So his name was mentioned. He didn't answer, and then he did not take him because he was lying down all through the proceedings. So at the end of the day, what we did was to simply apply to the court and let him be remanded in correctional center, the custody of correctional center, and then adjourn while he will be having access to medical treatment until he is fit enough to stand the trial.
Since 2013, he has never been as ill as this. This one I do not know whether both emotional, what else? But we are there. They are treating him at Rivers State University Teaching Hospital.
Meanwhile, a federal high court in Port Harcourt had granted bail to the lawmaker on Thursday after he has been in police custody for more than 1 week after he was arrested by the police and declared wanted by Governor Nyesom Wike. The matter was adjourned to May 16, 2022.
Operatives of the Force Intelligence Bureau Intelligence Response Team have arrested 23 suspects for culpable homicide, armed robbery, kidnapping, and arms trafficking. Among those arrested are the alleged killers of ex-Zamfara State gubernatorial aspirant and owner of Farmer British Schools, Alhaji Sagir Hamidu at Rijana. The FIB-IRT also recovered 52 firearms, including 1 rocket-propelled grenade launcher, 1 general-purpose machine gun, 36 AK-47 rifles, 2 English shotguns, and 5 locally made shotguns, among others. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi says operatives also arrested 2 suspects at Gwagwalada area of the FCT and another 2 at Plateau and Anambra states. The statement also said that all suspects will be arraigned in court upon completion of investigations. The Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, Fatima Waziri Aziz, said at least 17,727 victims of human trafficking had been rescued, sheltered, and rehabilitated by the agency since its inception 19 years ago. Dr. Fatima Waziri Aziz said this while featuring at the weekly ministerial briefing organized by the Presidential Communication Team at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The NAPTIP boss, who said females constituted an overwhelming majority of the victims with about 13,026, regretted that out of 8,005 arrests over the years, only 511 convictions were made. She attributed the low conviction rate to the refusal of victims to cooperate during investigations. On NAPTIP's efforts to arrest and prosecute perpetrators of human trafficking, domestic violence, and other related offenses, Fatima said that there are 261 ongoing cases in various courts nationwide.
To put in perspective, every year, thousands of people travel across the world in search of a better life, and amongst these people are victims of human trafficking. Trafficking in persons is a crime against humanity that has badly affected the image of our dear country, Nigeria. It involves the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons by means of threat, force, abduction, fraud, for the sole purpose of exploitation. Many victims are stranded in a number of West African countries as they cannot move further to Europe and living under dangerous conditions. In Mali alone, no fewer than 20,000 young Nigerian women and girls are trapped, living in shanties in the mining areas where they are sexually exploited. Human trafficking, as we already know, is a multi-billion-dollar global industry and second amongst transnational organized crime that exerts high human cost, leaving many trapped in exploitative situations worldwide. Even though accurate data is difficult to come by due to the clandestine nature of the crime, International Labour Organization estimates that no fewer than 40.3 million victims are currently trapped in different forms of human trafficking across the globe.
We'll now take a quick break. The news hour continues shortly. Please stay. Welcome back. This is the News Hour on Trust Television. Now moving on, prayers by religious clerics and other citizens can contribute to solving the problems of the nation. Pastor and General Overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God said this. Enoch Adeboye stated this during a courtesy visit to Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule in Lafia. The Christian cleric said Nigerian problems were not religious, but political. He expressed the belief that if attention is given to prayers, God will intervene. Pastor Adeboye said his decision to go around some states was to support the efforts of leaders through prayers. Agreeing with him, the Nasarawa State Governor said prayers were indeed efficient. He therefore commended the Christian cleric for embarking on the prayer tour.
Between us, Christians, Muslims, for political reasons. I try to make them understand that when the bandits were shooting at the people in the train that they were laid on the way to Kaduna, they didn't have a special bullet for Christians and another kind of bullets for Muslims. They were shooting. And bullets kill anyone. Bullets will not ask, what is your religion? So I said, we have a problem that only God can help us to solve.
So these things that are happening, like you truly mentioned, are not religious. They are purely political. And it is only God that will touch the hearts of the people who are causing these problems, that will make an 80-year-old to travel to Lafia for the first time in the history of his life, and now to travel to all these other places to pray for our country. So we need those prayers today. We need those prayers in every state of the Federation. We need those prayers for our Mr. President, for our country, and the young people. You have nothing else at the age of 80. You are not looking for anything else. So that's why it is touchy and emotional. For you, you don't need anything. Yet, you are going around the country, praying for the country so that we can have peace. May the Almighty Allah continue to bless you, to guide you, to give you good health, so you can live another 80 years.
Students of Nnamdi Azikiwe University have expressed sadness over the extension of the industrial action by the Academic Staff Union of the university's ASU for another 12 weeks. ASU had originally been on 1-month warning strike and rolled out the action over 2 months before announcing the latest extension by 3 months following the federal government's failure to meet its demands. They said that they were tired of staying at home and appealed to both the federal government and ASU to reach a compromise to enable students' return to school. Addressing the students, the chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Anambra State, Steph Efero, advised the youth to vote a candidate who prioritizes education.
They actually need money. Okay, let's assume that our parents are teachers. They need money to give us to pay our school fees. So I pray, and I also wish that the money should be paid to them.
All the plan that we have about school, thinking about how the last year we were rushed to be able to complete the semester because of the effect of COVID. Coming to this time, thinking that we'll be able to excel well within this period. We now met another strike. It's so bad on us.
I'm in 200 level actually. So many of us, we have my friends that are in state university. Many of them are already in second semester, already finishing the semester already. So, but us, we have never done anything.
Close to 3 months now. And our political class are busy picking nomination form for 2023 election. That shows the level of insensitivity to the plight of our young ones who are at home and remain the streets in that direction. We cannot guarantee anybody becoming president tomorrow that will think about the masses until the masses begin to speak out and demand for the rights. You see, you remember the NSAS protests, what it did in this country? Some of our leaders awoke from slumber and begin to think of what to do about the youths. Among all the contestants, you cannot vouch for anybody. When they can promise you heaven and hell, tell you that they will do this, do that, when they get into power, you forget about those promises. And another round of election comes again. So I don't think we should cast our hope on these politicians. What we need to do is to reorganize ourselves as citizens of this country and mobilize ourselves to demand for our rights.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board conducted the 2022 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination for blind candidates at the Jos Center. The exercise, which is called JAMB Equal Opportunity Group, was conducted at 11 centers across the country with over 380 blind candidates sitting for the exams this year. The Jos Center coordinator of the special exercise, Professor Nasir Maiturare, said 14 candidates sat for the exercise at the Jos Center, adding that the JAMB Equal Opportunity Group was aimed at giving the visually impaired people equal opportunity to pursue their academic dreams. One of the candidates, Moses Afashima, who hails from Benue State, appreciated the leadership of the JAMB for finding it worthy to organize the special JAMB exercise for them, saying such efforts had given them a sense of belonging.
The exercise had been hugely successful. We conducted the exercise, smoothly, from arrival, to the conduct of the examination, and also the administration, of the questions. Everything had gone on very smoothly because there had been, quite a lot of planning had taken place. 14 students participated in this current examination, and they come from, different states, from Plateau, from Benue, from Kaduna.
Well, things like this should be encouraged in Nigeria, because for the past years, JAMB has proven that we still have institutions in the country that can effectively manage things. JAMB have continuously improved on their processes of carrying people along, making sure that education reach all facets of life, and we thank God for that. If other centers too, they have witnessed same success and the kind of awesome treatment they've had in the center.
President of the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC, Ayuba Waba, has called on Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike to respect the labor laws and the agreement he signed with the organized labor. The NLC president insisted that Wike must implement the resolution in the tripartite committee report in order to restore industrial peace in Rivers State. Waba, who spoke to newsmen in Abuja on Saturday, said a tripartite committee was set up to resolve the issue of non-implementation of eligible civil servants for promotion since 2012. The committee also negotiated the non-payment of salaries arrears of civil servants for February and March 2016 due to the aborted biometric verification. The Labour leader said it was unfortunate that nearly 2 years after reaching a collective agreement with the Rivers State workers and the pensioners, the state government had not kept up its side of the bargain. The Katsina-Kano Road was constructed some decades ago. Since then, it has not been rehabilitated in spite of its dilapidated nature. Motorists plying the road had their hopes raised upon commencement of rehabilitation and dualization of the about 200-kilometer road sometime in 2014. The contract, which was awarded with work starting from the Kano end of the road, is being supervised by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. Abdullahi Ahmadi takes a look at the current state of the road, the project, and now reports.
The Katsina to Kano Road is one of the major federal roads linking Katsina with the rest of the country. This makes it an important contributor to the socio-economic development of not just the two states, but northern Nigeria as a whole. Beyond Nigeria, this road is one of the major routes to other African countries such as Niger, Algeria, Libya, Mali, and Mauritania, among others. From Sanyawa in Kano State to Katsina, the proposed terminal point of the road, the construction firm has done little or nothing so far to complete the project. The road is very bad. See, I have a flat tire due to potholes. It is really pathetic. We will be happy if this road is completed, but unfortunately it has been abandoned. The construction firm is alleged to have abandoned the road for months now, as work has totally come to a standstill with staff out of sight at both ends of the road. Accidents along this road are daily occurrences, as several lives and property worth hundreds of millions of naira are lost to crashes. I don't know why the road project was abandoned. Some people say the construction firm had a disagreement with the government over compensation. Whatever it is, we are appealing to the federal government to come to our aid and complete the project before the expiration of the tenure of President Muhammadu Buhari in 2023. Road users are questioning the capacity of the contractor to deliver on the job following what they term sudden disappearance of workers, a situation they said has compounded their woes on the road.
But yet the road is not complete. There are some places which they start working and they even carry even their equipment. We don't know where they are located again.
During its public outcry on the state of the road recently, the Katsina Elders Forum threatened to report the matter to President Muhammadu Buhari if nothing is done by the construction company.
We are awaiting the minister's response because I'm sure he must have received our message. If we are giving him time, if by, say, next month we don't hear anything from him, then we'll go back to Mr. President and report him, because he's supposed to finish this job. The money is there. I don't know why Katsina Kano Road, Mr. President's state, and the minister is joking with the construction.
Observers say if by the end of the tenure of the Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government, the Katsina Kano Road is not completed, Katsina people will be left with no option than to feel abandoned and marginalized. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. We'll take a short break. The news continues after. Please stay. Thanks for staying. Let's take a look at some business news. The Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria has called on the Central Bank of Nigeria to establish BDC's autonomous foreign exchange trading window with a determined maximum daily limit. This, according to the association, will enable eligible BDCs to access dollars from banks, autonomous market, and diaspora forex window at the prevailing market prices. This was contained in a statement issued by the BDC operators. The body spoke as the nation continues to grapple with a shortage of forex in the economy. The body also canvassed the creation of an automation portal to encourage the registration of undocumented and unlicensed operators for effective monitoring, identification, and tracking of their transactions. Away from Nigeria, Russian troops are withdrawing from Ukraine's second largest city of Kharkiv after weeks of heavy bombardment in another battlefield setback for Moscow. Ukraine's military said on Saturday the Russians were pulling back from the major northeastern city and focusing on guarding supply routes. Western officials also said Ukraine had driven Russian forces back from around Kharkiv, which was a key target for Moscow's troops. The US-based think tank Institute for the Study of War agreed with the assessment. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky praised the development in his daily video address. He said the gradual liberation of the Kharkiv region proves that Ukraine will not leave anyone to the enemy. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan will be the next president of the UAE, the Federal Supreme Council announced on Saturday. The 61-year-old leader will be the country's third president, succeeding his brother Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, who passed away on May 13 at the age of 73. According to the statement, the Federal Supreme Council convened at a Mul Sharif Palace in Abu Dhabi and unanimously elected Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed as the UAE president. The new president is set to uphold office for a 5-year term before being eligible for re-election. The meeting was chaired by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of UAE and ruler of Dubai, and attended by the UAE rulers. And in sports news, Liverpool have beaten Chelsea on penalties to win the FA Cup final at Wembley on Saturday after the match finished goalless following extra time. The shootout finished 6-5 with Kostas Tsimikas scoring the winning sport kick after Mason Mount's effort was saved by Alisson Becker. Becker was the sport kick hero as Liverpool secured another penalty shootout triumph against Chelsea to win the FA Cup and keep their quest for an unprecedented quadruple alive. For more updates on sports, let's take a look at this package put together by our sports correspondent Adeni Adishafe.
2022 Five-Star Premier League will feature 16 teams from Abuja, Ibadan and Lagos as they compete in the five-a-side grassroots football competition, with the draws conducted in Abuja to pit teams together. A seminar was also organized to sensitize Nigerians on the development of grassroots football, tag growth and profitability of grassroots football in Nigeria and beyond. Speaking at the event, Chief Operating Officer of Nationwide League One, Shola Ogunsanwo, says NLO is correcting the anomalies in the area of officiating in the third-tier league by releasing names of erring referees in the league and making sure officiating becomes better.
We have 774 local governments in Nigeria. If you have two mini stadiums and of this stadium, then it will be good enough for the grassroots football to develop more. Then we go into area of technicals where the Nigeria Football Federation is doing all it could to train coaches. These coaches are the ones that will bring out these players, bring out the best in them, identify talents. We keep appealing to them that they should please study the laws of the game very well and officiate according to the laws of the game and take away bias.
Last season's most valuable player, Marcus Adekunle of Suicide FC, received an award. Ataib Jamal of Tio FC won the top scorer with 13 goals as Henry Ndubuzi won best goalkeeper. Five-Star Premier League is played by 5 players per team tagged 5-a-side to create competitiveness and a platform for footballers to show their football skills. Managing Director of Five-Star Premier League, Olumide Aturu, while appreciating the media for promoting the league, says the competition has developed to the level of getting invitation to futsal competition abroad, adding that players are joining foreign leagues from grassroots Five-Star Premier League.
Grassroots, I know for sure, is the bedrock of any success story. Look at the Iheanachos, the Ndidis, that's where they started, in Mikel Obi, Okocha, Ronaldinho. So if we focus more on grassroots, there's nothing stopping the emphatic development. Just not long ago, we got an invitation from an international world futsal body, to bring our players, all expense paid trip and everything. So these are the kind of progress that we look forward to see. And then it's happening right in front of our eyes. And I believe that.
That's Sport News. I am Adeniyi Ajishafe.
Now, before we wrap up, here's a look at this kicker. Crescent Africa elephant doctor, Dr. Audrey Delsing, is working as an advocate in the protection and welfare of the endangered beasts in Africa's savannas and forest. Here she shares with Bird insights from her 25-year journey with the Earth's biggest land mammals. Take a look.
Culling refers to the killing of the entire population or a segment of that population. For every female elephant that we vaccinate, we are saving the death of a potential 8 to 10 elephants. This ultimately is going to be the answer to preserving elephants for the future, promoting coexistence with elephant populations and these surrounding communities.
All right, with that, we wrap up the news hour on Trust Television, but you can watch more by clicking the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and also following us across all social media platforms. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.